All right, folks, we are live with our second match here of the day. We're actually heading over to an
bonus coverage.
Bonus coverage, that's right. Bonus Overwatch for y'all. Thanks for hanging with us during the break.
Scott
It's gonna be a one-man army versus Virtus.pro going out on Eichenwalder, our second map of the series after VP, shockingly, take map 1.
Yeah, the VP. This should be a fun match, though. One-man army. It's always pretty fun to see play. So we'll get to see them kind of turn up throughout this series. On defense,
Cloud's
here.
playing.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a change up here for VP. So see for one-man army, they'll have a top dragon guide to the Echo here on defense. So. Echo Ash. So Ash, we've seen, I know in the first 2 games so far, get some good play here on Eichenwalder.
Now, obviously, a one-man army impressed us here, getting second in Group C of Stage 3 of the EMEA OWCS. They had to go up against Twisted Minds. Eventually, they won that lower bracket and ended up losing to them. But they beat, 3-1. So this team's looking better and better. So curious to see if they can put any pressure down on Virtus.pro, who only lost their matches here during Season 2 of the FACEIT Master League to ENTS and a Space Station Gaming. On board here with Canale, already a Bionade trying to put pressure down on Thematic, who had a shield ready to eat it.
Yeah, I mean, VP is really trying to solidify themselves as like the third team here in EMEA. Is they'll lose Canale here at the start here to Thematic, so one-man army trying to get something going.
Yeah, not too shabby. It looks like Canal got a little too close to the sun there with that Bionade attempt. Thematic able to punish here. So this rush composition, something that Virtus.pro should be intimately familiar with, given they have Rajaro on their roster. Still opting to stay with this diva look here. Again, Juno for both sides here. Gala obviously going to show us a new element to their already pretty deep and interesting support map pool. Thematic's been hard to shift so far. It's going to take a commitment likely to get rid of this Ramatra. Cloud as well comes in for Virtus.pro. And don't always see Cloud. It's a shockwave, so a little bit of a change there on the main.
Yeah, potentially wanting to kind of like have a little bit more flexibility, potentially. I know with like Son and Cloud in their hero pools towards the later part of the game, but you lose Top Dragon. So we talk about how the Juno kind of like flies through the sky. Again, more of a glide, could be easy to deal with. As this is a nice ult here that's going to actually kind of keep Cloud up. It's going to be an annihilation though popped here for Thematic, as they feel like they can still win it, but he is quite low.
I mean, that is quite a scary prospect, trying to dive the Ramatra during his annihilation. It looks like Gala like throws the sort of orbital ray in the opposite direction so they can sort of focus on trying to heal the people fighting the Ramatra, but that doesn't work. You need to respect annihilation, I think.
Yeah, and Donghun ends up using the rally there, trying to keep...
Alright, the way to trigger this, Bonavo. Show me. Oh no, spotted!
Oh, this...
That is not good. That is really not good. Okay.
Since the Bob back towards the, if I'm not going to make it back towards the rest of my team, at least my Bob will, right? Yeah, I'll leave a part of me here.
I respect it. Orbital ray here now from Alpha. Looking in the direction of Thematic, who's a little bit low, but throws at the Dukes to defend themselves here. Saunus Bob ends up taking down Donghun. Top Dragon, a little bit wary of that that self-destruct, rather, from Rajaro. He's able to get back in, though, and again, this Duke May really doing some serious work. Rajaro eventually able to bring the Juno down, so that is concerning for a one-man army.
But that is Rajaro there with the nano boost, so you see how powerful that orbital ray is there from the Juno, where you can't even really fight it with that nano, as Thematic gets quite low. Gonna make his way back to the point, but the dupe ends up paying off big time from Top Dragon in the previous fight. I think, though, you're just kind of rotting out here for a one-man army. It just doesn't seem like they're able to kind of heal through this constant pressure that's coming down.
All right, focusing beam able to account for the mech of Rajaro, but Virtus.pro still able to get onto the point there, while Top Dragon was still trying to deal with their backline. Sauna able to turn around here and finish the job. So VP on the road here took him a couple of fights to get through, but 3 minutes to go through this phase of the map, still pretty reasonable. Now, there's the question of how you get value out of Ramatra here defensively.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to play probably a little bit more aggressive down by the cart, because you don't want to exactly kind of sit up here. You could sit and play a little bit more defensive, right? Up on the high ground, around shield, and maybe play a little bit of like an anti, but I think you're going to have this type of position here, especially, being able to kind of heal from, reasonable distance with the Juno, but this is the only spot you'd get good value out of the Ramatra from.
All right, there is Sauna. Oh, sees the pre get knocked off. Okay, dangerous for Donghun now. Have to play for the low ground, but out of nowhere, Theomatic emerges in Nemesis form, and whoa, the annihilation on the backline. Sleep was fine for Canale, but there is no way you're going to stop that. That is still a terrifying front line for a one-man army.
Yes, still extremely difficult to dislodge the Ramatra. So we've talked a little bit about like D.Va versus Winston. We've talked about, Orisa a little bit. In Ramatra, where Ramatra seems like still has points on maps and areas of maps where just the inability to dislodge him and how tanky he can be
another kill.
Make it really difficult to play against.
Virtus.pro are really in disarray right now. This aggression from a one-man army. The follow-up there from Theomatic, it wasn't clear that he was going to fully commit on towards the Ana position, but Canale just lingered a little bit too far out of spawn and was easily snapped up.
Yeah, you also see the way that Theomatic's playing. Just not really any type of fear. Top Dragon here with a D.Va copy, probably using that Matrix to try and help Theomatic get out because he was quite low, hit with a bio grenade, just trying to power block and walk away.
Probably a worthwhile spend of ultimate if you're worried that your D.Va could get, caught out, stalled, staggered, all the rest. Orbital strike here now for the defenders. Rajaro now heading in towards the castle, has spotted out Avo, but can't put enough pressure down, at least gets the coach gun out. Going to be an option for later on, and what? Theomatic just ceased to exist there. Maybe the damage boost, I think, from the orbital strike, something that Theomatic wasn't quite prepped for and didn't have the defensive cooldowns to cover. Here comes our rally though, Donghun turning up the heat. Rajaro takes the mega, gets on out, but sees a Bob waiting for them outside. Still opts to go there, but they've lost Cloud, and they're going to lose Gala here too.
Yes, this has not looked good for VP. Even one-man army was making some big plays on their first point defense, and then eventually just kind of like rotted out over time. Rajaro is going to have a mech here with a self-destruct, so going to have to use that. It's going to be a blizzard thrown in here from Cloud, trying to get Theomatic out of their backline, which they do, and it looks like Rajaro will get a remix. So maybe now for VP you can start to move the bot.
And that Blizzard is the main answer to a Ramatra in this composition. Despite his speed inside Nemesis form is considerable, it can also interrupt an annihilation. That's a big deal, and it's a game changer as well when you've seen what Theomatic's been able to do to the backline of Virtus.pro when he's walked up with that ultimate.
Yeah.
But great stall. We're down to the last fight here for Virtus.pro, and they've still got a lot of ground to cover, but they've got an Avo first, that long-range threat of the Ashes off the table. This checkpoint is legitimately up for grabs here.
Well, it's a really nice dynamite from Sauna as well, as they're all trying to exit out that side rooms. Theomatic will end up using the Annihilation, just trying to stay alive on that payload, but not going to work out.
Unreal.
So, big dynamite from Sauna as a one-man army trying to get out of that choke point back towards the payload. And then the follow-up there from the rest of the team. You get that early pick-off. Avo switched over to Genji to try and make his way back. That doesn't even matter, though. VP at the final moments will unlock the final checkpoint.
Okay, see there, the Annihilation was much more manageable from Theomatic as he was out of position and poked down consistently by Sauna and Co. Here's Top Dragon looking to wrap around, cooldowns on the back line. Sticky bombs do connect, but the sleeper is going to force a dupe, and Sauna can't do much because Theomatic already charged straight into them. Top Dragon did their job there, tying up the back line, allowing Theo to walk up.
Well, you can be way more aggressive with the duplicate, right? Because if you get quite low, you can just dupe really anybody, like you just saw there, just dupes the Ashe. Not really kind of the intended target at the always, but goes for the Ashe just because it's right in front of him, able to get some health back, and then able to still fight this. The Echo also really good against the D.Va. You can get D.Va's armor off and then get the focusing beam down. The D.Va just melts. So really a one-man army. We've seen them play the Echo pretty consistently. Top Dragon's been phenomenal. And that's actually a sick bio from Canale. Connects with both supports.
What's the impact going to be, though? He comes to push up a little bit low though with Gala. Okay, goes for the orbital Reiki, but it gets taken down, by the undodgeable pulsar torpedoes. Alpha able to secure that kill on the Juno. Here comes the push up now. Blizzard going to be seeing Avo caught inside of it. He is going to have to use that ice block. Theo gets taken down. Then when Virtus.pro with the numbers advantage is going to surge ahead. Top Dragon picked off. Trying to go for a last gambit towards the backline, I'm sure. Just as Donghun is trying to stall attempts here for the entirety of a one-man army. They get Cloud for their troubles, but that's all. Virtus.pro have a Bob still to work with.
It would be brutal here for a one-man army to give up a full map completion because they played VP pretty well all the way to the end. Nice spot here from Sauna set up on the chandelier. Top Dragon will go to a Venture, try and make it out of spawn. So Venture with EMEA, really difficult combo. deal with here is that'll be a bomb to the backline. They'll get some crossfire over that like final point. There's a nice bio lands on the thematic.
Yeah, forces him to block here and give up much of that ground he just gained. And here comes Top Dragon emerging in the midst of the Virtus.pro players with a switch over to Venture. Wants to force Rajaro back here, maybe even try and force a C9. They almost did, but the Annihilation surely has to do the job. Such a powerful ability. Self-destruct for Rajaro back in the mech. He can still have a crack at it, but now there are no teammates to help the Diva. Rajaro knows that essentially at this point it is a foregone conclusion. Virtus.pro will be brought to a stop just ahead of the throne. All things considered, pretty good push.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, considering where Virtus.pro was potentially at in terms of their offense, they have to feel pretty good about what they got. For one-man army, you feel like maybe you gave up a little bit too much in the sense that potentially you could have gotten a point A hold. You're very close to getting a point B hold, right? Because but Sauna and Go, that means a really nice dynamite that puts down some damage, and Rajaro comes, cleans up some kills. Where very close potentially for a one-man army to stop before that second checkpoint.
Virtus.pro looked, I mean, based on what we saw from them in OWCS, looked a little uncharacteristically scrappy at points on this map. Up against the Ramatra composition, where obviously you really have the mobility advantage against him, your backline is still extremely susceptible. And of course, we get a classic VP composition here. It's not a Sigma-based one, but Gala still wants to be on the Iliari. Some great spots for those healing turrets, and in general, are going to be a nuisance for Juno.
Yeah, and I think this composition works, really well with the Baptistas in combination, right? You can just put down tons of damage from the support line, and then also just the actual support is there for Rajaro, being able to keep the Ramatra fighting, especially if they're going to play Ramatra on the other side. You don't exactly have the Brig, right? Which is great to fight in that close quarters, but the Immortality field is so good that it makes it very difficult to deal with, even if they have a Brig on the other side.
We'll see Canale on the Ana. The map we didn't get to see was a Lijiang Tower performance where he absolutely popped off, according to a good friend Avril.
What do you think though about the Pharah versus the Echo? We've seen it in the past where it seems like the Echo can actually get the better of the Pharah in certain situations.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the Echo can close the gap and then blow cooldown, if you hit the sticky bombs and you're close enough for a focusing beam, I think the Pharah is generally cooked, but that is not easy to do, especially because the Pharah plays at a relatively respectful distance and usually plays around the healing pylon when possible. That's like the main way that they're getting healed in this composition.
Right, I think it probably comes down to a little bit more of Sauna's positioning and not playing extremely close towards potentially where Top Dragon can come in and finish him off. Is I will actually switch over and play Cassidy here, so a little bit sturdier. Nice Maywall here from Cloud as Thematic does get quite low. They get Top Dragon low as well.
Alpha just trying to get this passive healing, or rather active, but not really getting involved in the fight. Passive kind of positioning here. Theo a little bit low. Shields get thrown up though. Maywall by Virtus.pro tried to catch him out. Now he's under a little bit of pressure, but Alpha is still there with the Mediblaster, constantly keeping them ready. Top Dragon eventually finds what they were looking for. Not the Pharah in a head-to-head matchup, but Canale, who does not have the mobility to avoid Echo if she's ready to roll with those cooldowns. Gala again getting close to a captive Sun, but hasn't really been able to clip the wings of Top Dragon or Alpha in this fight. Rajaro is under extreme amounts of pressure. That is a airborne captive Sun, and unclear if there was a connection there. Pretty unlikely, I feel, as Avo does his job on that. Cassidy brings down the Pharah.
Yeah, and I feel like a one-man army, they had an opportunity there, a window, right, where you get rid of the enemy Baptiste. That's a large source of healing. If it's just in Ilari, there's just not enough healing output, especially against Juno Brig, to be able to win that. And they take advantage of that window of opportunity by taking that checkpoint. So, yeah, I don't think that Captive Sun hit anything. Maybe it was actually trying to go at Top Dragon, in the sky. There's also potentially just wanted to, just kind of peek the corner, pop it, see if you hit anything. But then really focus on like healing the rest of the team. Is no other healer up at the time.
So One Man Army get that first checkpoint about a minute faster than Virtus.pro did earlier in the half. Big peak for Top Dragon on Canale. That's what really starts the Tower of Cards crumbling down. They've got a duplicate now, which means they can be that much more aggressive. Can afford to just copy someone else, hang around, use a free bar of health to try and find eliminations. Okay, decent pressure. Gala's playing around a healing pylon. It's still not quite enough here. Top Dragon now we get the dupe of the Illari, which is extra healing for Thematic, which comes at a perfect time as they were able to break through the immortality field of Canale. And now it's going to be hard to get that Ramatra down.
Ooh, it's going to be an Ant Matrix here, though, from Canale and co. As they want to fight over the payload here. It's going to be a Deadeye here from the side as they're just trying to keep Avo up, but can't spot anything. Everybody from VP just turns their tail and hides.
Nothing to see, really. Top Dragon was felled here, but in general, the healing, the orbital array and one-man army's momentum blows over Virtus.pro. And they're playing composition that's just a little bit susceptible in the backline, which is a common issue with this Baptiste Illari setup. If they get dove, they will really have problems hanging around. But Top Dragon's actually switched over to the Mei here, so they're more echo play.
Yeah, we were talking about how impactful like a character like Reaper is inside of the orbital array. There you see the Cassidy, right? I know the down jam, plus he's just really difficult to take out. Is Canale actually comes right out of that doorway and no teammates there, and just gets picked off by Avo, and that's going to be that second checkpoint. So a one-man army putting together a little bit of a speed run here on their offense.
Yeah, a nice switch over to the Mei, I think, for a Top Dragon. Just actually threw a wall on that left-hand side, so Virtus.pro couldn't come through. The composition obviously wants to group around to some degree because they have an Illari and, of course, that Ramatra, so they really had no chance at fighting. It was just Canale's desperate attempt to keep things going, but they were just sitting out in the open, floating around, and got picked off. So much time here for a one-man army. They are in such a commanding position on Eichenwalde in general. And now VP have to really pull out all the stops to try and pull the stop of their own.
And I wonder if we see them change off of this Illari. I know the Juno with the Illari is something I don't think a lot of us kind of expected. Is Cloud uses Blizzard. It looks like a one-man army. Everybody kites it though, and then Ava uses a Deadeye just trying to back them up. As this be the Captive Sun gets thrown in.
Yeah, Sauna though just going to go down to the Annihilation. A far more threatening ability. You see Canale there hovering very, very low on health, but still alive somehow. Rajaro eventually gets brought down. Looks like that was a rally shield crash from Donghun actually to stitch up that Ramatra in general. So a great recovery. It did take a lot from Virtus.pro to hold on, and they're still in trouble. They're going to be brought down. A one-man army, have both support ultimates and the Annihilation to take the map.
Well, I mean, there you also see just how much better Donghun has a rally versus like a Captive Sun could be, right? Rajaro goes in, tries to make a play with his Annihilation, dealt with the rally just quickly, right? The shield bash just kind of burnt down, where on the opposite side of things, there's nothing for them to worry about. I know, especially like what you're gonna get Captive Sun the Ramatra as he's going in, is Sauna just gets taken out instantly.
Yeah, I mean, again, I do think this like backline from Virtus.pro can be a little bit risky. Now also as well, it's easier to get like that incidental poke damage against them. You have this Ramatra, which is a great receptacle for that really high healing that Juno can offer. Also would definitely love to get sped up, with that hyper ring. So there are a number of synergies built in there, and it feels like to me, Orbit Array feels like Coalescence in that it's just a big numbers ult. Like it just basically makes you better at everything.
Yeah, vertical coalescence, is that what you would say?
Yes, I mean it is. It's just like throwing a stat stick at your opponents, and I think it's really hard to win fights against that ability.
It's probably way better than Cole though as well, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's
this is truly like, AOE.
Yeah, and then it's also just like damage amp versus just damage, right?
Yeah.
So probably way more effective. I think Top Dragon was a huge difference maker on the Echo. Something he constantly pulls out and uses to great effect, making it very difficult on the Diva's life.
Yeah, big difference maker for sure. And again, like some of the rally plays were pretty impactful there. It's good to see like Donghun really sticking to his guns. I think like the Juno Brig comp, you can kind of see why teams gravitate towards it. This is like Avo Deadeye's there, and Gala tries to swing it around with that Captive Sun and sort of make something happen. The Rajaro gets that sort of annihilation off, but he gets stunned by Donghun. There's like Alpha's healing in play. Basically everything you could ask for a one-man army there. So looking good. I just want to be clear. That is a map win against the top three team in this region. VP are the team that you need to basically knock out to really get into the higher echelons of EMEA. And I think we've seen a one-man army as a team come like a really long way over the last month or two.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't have Twisted Minds in the field here. It looks like for the FACEIT League in this season 2, right? So, but you think of like in Space Station VP, Twisted Minds, and then Gaming Gladiators, or those now known as the Washington Hospice. So you think of like those are your kind of top 5 or so in EMEA, but you have teams like Oblivion and a one-man army knocking on the door.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and good to see for them here to equalize a map in this series. Again, it's not loser pick per se. It's that both teams alternate choosing maps at the start of the series. And again, like Matt sort of mentioned, if you win the toss, you can be Team A or Team B. Obviously, Team A has extra picks. You get to choose more maps, which generally tends to favor you. So most teams go that way. That means that this is a Virtus.pro pick, as they must be Team A. So they take Lijiang Tower, and they get to play things out on Runesapi next. Now, I've seen them play the Ramatra comp on this map. I don't know if I've seen them play D.Va as well, but we know Rajaro is more than capable. So VP, very flexible team. I think they basically can get the best comp on this map, whichever way you slice it.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if there's any type of response to the Top Dragon Echo, right? The Echo puts a lot of pressure onto the D.Va, so we'll see if there's any type of response or change here that VP potentially feels is needed. I also think just kind of the support line, right? You want to play this aggressive backline, but obviously with Juno in the game, thing has changed a little bit, right? So how do they adjust to this kind of new world as things move on?
Now, we saw obviously a little bit of this map in the previous series, right? We got a little bit of a taster for it. We saw D.Va versus Winston comps primarily. So here are your two teams. So a one-man army at 5 and 7 after the group stages here, with a map differential of -7. Whereas a Virtus.pro are 10 and 2 with a differential of +20. Definitely should be feeling confident here. But VP, honestly, lost pretty hard to both Ensign Space Station Gaming and NSSG, are a team that we sort of were concerned that we're floundering a little bit here. Space Station only have 1 loss and a forfeit loss, obviously, this week because they don't need the win.
Yeah, but I think though, I mean the meta has been so all over the place. I feel like, or just kind of now coalescing really around D.Va, that it's definitely thrown a lot of teams for a loop, right? Some players who have been playing really, I mean, you can get away with playing like Winston for ages, right? Like Winston, Ramatra, like maybe a little bit of Junker Queen, right? Like we haven't really seen D.Va in a very long time being like prominently played as like the tank. Both teams here will end up with a Ramatra look here on Runesapi, which is something we see a lot of teams go for. These close quarters, narrow streets, very good for a more brawly type of play.
Yeah, look, mirrored comps entirely here, and as good as VPR the Ramatra style, a one-man army looked excellent on Archinvolta. So still feel like we have a potentially compelling game here. I want to make it clear, a one-man army winning here would be an upset, but after what we saw in Archinvolta, it's within the realm of possibility. Let's see what VP have for us here. Gala's a little bit too slow to get the pulsar torpedoes on Canal there, so they're down to support. Right, a one-man army also lose Dong Hun here, so very tit-for-tat fighting out of the gates.
I mean, this would definitely be an upset, right? If a one-man army were able to take this. Coming in against VP, who had a very good showing in the recent stage of OWCS. Rajaro, though, doing work there inside of Nemesis form. Comes up with 2. This will be VP in control of the bot first. They'll get a move.
Okay, so in the mirror, VP still have some degree of confidence here. They didn't want to play it on Archinvolta for the most part. Wanted to play D.Va into this Ramatra style, see if they could do it, but it definitely feels like where their bread is buttered. And we'll have a one-man army now trying to surge back out of Swarm, but that bot is getting close already to that first checkpoint, such that a one-man army have to group up for one more fight to stop them.
Do you think the mirror favors one team or another? I actually think it probably favors VP a little bit more, like playing a little bit more structured style of play, where I think a one-man army playing that Echo was definitely something that was throwing them for a loop.
Maybe the lack of Echo is a difference maker, but I really like the one-man army's Ramatra style in general, right? Looked really good on Archinvolta. Yeah. However, here, you're also dealing with the snowball from winning the first fight. So you get a healing ray, an orbital ray rather, and that's very, very hard to fight. Like I said, it's just a stat stick that your opponents are getting beat over the head with. And that's a checkpoint here for Virtus.pro.
Yeah, I mean, Theomatics looks really good on the Ramatra, right? Throughout this series thus far. But yeah, I just have a feeling that like VP in the mirror probably, it works out a little bit better for them. And then also I think, having that support line now be playing the Juno with the break, I think it works out way better as you're going to lose Top Dragon straight away. There goes Alpha. It's just a Bob used here from Sona. It's also used by Avo. It's going to put down some damage here onto Rajaros. Rajaros forced into pop of the Annihilation, but it's going to be more progress here for VP, and they hold on to their rally.
Importantly, they also hold on to the Blizzard, which is the natural predator to Ramatra when he tries to use that Annihilation. So even though a one-man army have a huge ult advantage coming into this next fight, a good Blizzard placement can completely ruin things here for a one-man army. So
We're on this Widow
from Avo. Okay. The sightline does seem very good for this.
Yeah, we're just trying to find a pick here, though, to prevent them from just kind of taking the entire map. That's what we're looking for here. If you're a one-man army, this is the Blizzard that comes in from Cloud as Avo finds Gala off to the side, so the Widow does end up paying off 2 HP. Not going to make it out with his life, though.
Wait, I mean, Top Dragon and Falcon both get brought down here. Thematic at least in the Nemesis 4. I don't know if Alpha can do much about this, but Cloud is a threat, potentially. Going to be healed back up. Alpha was removed. So the Juno is down. And now
here as well.
DPS. This is scary.
I mean, what? Thematic doesn't want to end up popping Annihilation here, right? Oh, that was sick.
Well, he wasn't ready for the armor, like the instant armor grant of Nemesis 4. So Thematic gets like 100 armor or something like that, and allowed him to turn the fight. Nicely done. That is a pretty corner case moment for the Ramatra player, but he navigates it with style.
That is a huge play there. I mean, you lose Theomatic in that type of situation, right? VP will have all their players coming off of respawn. You're in a lot of trouble there if you're a one-man army. Potential for VP to just end up taking the map right there.
Alpha goes for it. It really pops those cooldowns, but Orbital Ray here used by both sides. Annihilation, though, for Thematic feels like a game changer here. And Canal has nowhere to run. Virtus.pro made great progress across the map here. A one-man army have used a lot of their ultimates. They still get to take that first checkpoint.
Oh. Yeah, the Bob throwing in there from Sona just right onto the bot, it delays any type of progress. You can't exactly push up. They're taking so much damage here. It's a nice nade there. Dynamite from Sona. Also one exchange back, though, from Avo. But you're going to have both teams now back at full strength. So one-man army doesn't really gain anything out of that previous fight.
Blitz is up here for Top Dragon. It's going to be a problem for Rajaro as he's close to his Annihilation as well. 5 minutes to go. We are back to parity now in bot distance, and Rajaro, well, never had a chance to use that Annihilation. He's going to get caught out. Cloud dived in there for whatever reason. So another fight win for a one-man army sets them up now to take a checkpoint if they can take their next. And they just have the rally to work with there, but Bob will likely be online as well.
Yeah, it was a nice Maywall there from Cloud trying to keep Rajaro alive, but everybody from a one-man army able to kind of circumvent it. Put down enough damage on the tank to take him out, where, yeah, like you mentioned, this potentially could be checkpoint territory here for a one-man army, but looks like VP trying to flood out of that high ground wants to take another fight fast.
Good ultimates here for Virtus.pro in general. The rally might be a little bit tricky to deal with. Now Avo's trying to really set up with this Ashe out to the side. Stake their claim to that area now. Cloud trying to go for a flank Blizzard. Yeah. Not what he was looking for there at all, unfortunately. Rajaro's going to be forced back now with the Bob on an off angle. This should be a checkpoint for a one-man army. Virtus.pro dropped the spaghetti in the last couple of fights.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they had the game pretty much in their favor. It's not, it wasn't like what we just saw, right? 142 meters to nothing, but it's still a 113-meter lead there at the start, where now it is fastly dwindling here as a one-man army going deeper into VP territory. You won't have a Bob for the next fight for VP, but you'll be able to match support ultimates where if you end up seeing these popped, it's an absolute must-win for Virtus.pro.
I love that from Theo, just taking liberties there. Forces an ice block out of Cloud just by pushing up a little bit further in non-Nemesis form, by the way. Everyone needs to respect this. Hyper Ring going to be thrown out for both sides. Healing Rays also coming through. Healing Rays, Orbital Rays. As Alpha gets punched to a pulp by Rajaro, but the Annihilation comes up even for Thematic. Rajaro holds his ultimate. Going very, very low inside rally here. Rajaro doesn't need to ult until he feels a little bit low, and now it's time to go with the Nemesis 4. Really being mindful of conserving his ultimate economy. Thematic, though, starting to become a little bit of a nuisance. He's going to pop that Annihilation, find Top Dragon first and foremost, and then the rest of a one-man army will have to give it up.
But for a one-man army, I mean, you got yourself back into this game, right? The bot's going to go back into their territory, at least mid-map, but still, you got 99 meters off of that one push. Put yourself within basically one fight territory of tying it up or taking the lead. So a one-man army gives themselves a fighting chance here in the last 3 minutes to actually take this map, which is quite impressive.
All right, back to equilibrium for the bot. Blizzard up here for Virtus.pro now. Avo's been pretty effective. Took a really nice off angle, got a bob set up in like a quasi-flanking position when they fought over that checkpoint. That really undid Virtus.pro. Some solid Ash play over the last couple of minutes. Here's a Blizzard. This time Cloud opts not to flank with it. I respect it. That is going to freeze a Thematic Solid, and in the meantime, Rajaro gets to blow past him and deal with the rest of these one-man army players. Gonna be Tonghun trying to reposition with a shield bash there, and Thematic gets left for last as he was nothing but an ornament. An ice sculpture as the rest of the fight whirled around him.
Yeah, as you see, I mean, if you can get the Ramatra out of the way, it seems like you just pop your Nemesis form and just push on up, and it's really easy for the opposing team to deal with the rest of the squad once you have your Ramatra up and theirs down. So this will be the pass checkpoint here yet again for Virtus.pro. So one-man army will be able to kind of contest this, so holding some of that high ground. It's Theomedius gets a lot of damage coming down to try to kind of contest straight away.
A lot of poke. Avo was kept out of the fight briefly there by a Canale. Now they can take the balcony, which is scary. Bob's going to get thrown off, and again, that annoying off angle is going to be used here. Cloud has to ice block. Rajaro jockeys back here. And so that orbital ray doesn't really get used at all. Again, it's the Ash that really strikes the fear of God in Virtus.pro.
Well, yeah, the Bob forces them out of it. They make me want to go aggressive there behind that orbital array, but the Bob kind of just putting down shots from directly behind them. You can't exactly just run on in with that Bob directly behind. You can't turn and shoot the Bob, right? I mean, that's just an instant death for your entire team. So the Bob there from Avo ends up paying off in a pretty big way.
Yeah. Moments like that make you miss having Ash, rather armor to sleek the Bob, or not forbid Sombra to hack it up and avoid that scrutiny for a time. Here we go again though. Blizzard now going to be used here by Top Dragon. Pretty preemptively tries to use the Maywall to catch Rajaro. It works, but Nemesis form gives him a bit more bulk to work with. However, that annihilation committed after the fact by Thematic is pretty big, and now a one-man army is starting to catch up on Virtus.pro here. Generally anyone's game, and it is going to come down to one fight in which a one-man army have at least one support ultimate to work with. The other one they've used just now, the orbital ray, is good, and Canal gets caught out by the May wall. This is so close. In fact, Virtus.pro are in no position to stop the bot for the time being. Rajaro has to int.
And it's Dongun who has a rally, so I mean, this is enormous here for a one-man army. It's just going to be the Blizzard that comes down from Cloud.
And Dongun just shrugs it off. He's in ice block for the entire time now, and in overtime, Virtus.pro are in deep trouble. A one-man army have gotten in the lead now, and it's just an attempt to stall, to stagger here with a Moira pick. And this one is over. I don't think I've seen such a comeback in quite some time. A one-man army, baby. That is what I'm talking about.
It's like 113 meters.
Food.
It's 113 meters there at the end, but once Donghun has that rally there on the point, and the Blizzard isn't like a catastrophe, right, for a one-man army, and they're able to kind of live on through that. There's no way you're fighting that, right? You're all just kind of piling into a Ramatra who's got a Nemesis form while a rally is going. No way you're gonna fight that as a one-man army. Takes 2-1 lead in the series, and I believe Nu Jung-soo is their pick, right? So. Should be going to a map that they feel pretty confident on.
Yeah, we like that. Great recovery. They are behind literally like 114 to 0.
They were really competitive in OWCS. Like, they were pretty fun, right? I think everybody loves watching Top Dragon play, just all the different heroes, whether it be like, Echo or Mei or Far, things like that. But just couldn't seem like they could kind of crack through that like upper echelon. But right now against VP, looking quite good. VP also, trying to make the backline thing work on Eichenwalde and going with the Juno in the brig here, which I think looked better. I think this is a better setup just in general.
Yeah, this team's shown themselves to be quality. Their road through the group stage is right. It's like kind of what you'd expect, right? They lose to like your SSGs and the Ences. There are a couple of like odd losses that they maybe like they lost to De Impero. I think at one point they lost to Ex Oblivioni. That's like what kind of sets them down. Like they end up 5-7. Like you really feel like this team could have, at this form anyway, really would have been threatening. And now they're just putting the thumb screws on our number 3 team here in season 2, the Masters League. So I respect this. These guys look great.
And also got highlighting it as well for VP, like no shockwave here today thus far. Not sure whether they just don't want to field shockwave today. Maybe it's a scheduling issue, right? But shockwave would typically be the like Ashe type of player for this team, right? Where Sauna specifically has really been like a lot of tracer play just throughout his career.
Yeah, definitely. Different look here for Virtus.pro, but we're loving what we're seeing from a one-man army, and we're going to see more of them after the break on their map pick of New Junk City. So, as always, don't go anywhere. So as our 7th seed, a one-man army at 5-7 over the EMEA Master Season 2, who've taken Runasapi away, the pick of Virtus.pro, and they start at a significant disadvantage, Matt. It's like 114 meters in favor of Virtus.pro.
Yeah.
And then a one-man army turn on the heat, take the map, and takes to their pick of New Junk City.
Yeah, they bounce back. I think they look really good playing some of these Ramatra comps. And you can definitely do that here on New Junk City with an opportunity to really, I think, surprise a lot of people taking out VP, who they were quite awesome in the OWCS.
Yeah, I mean, they really impressed us. Obviously, a little bit of a different look for the VP team here. Obviously, Cloud in for Shockwave, which has Sauna picking up a little bit more of the role that we might have seen at Shockwave adopt at times, but it's looked really good. I think the hit scan play from Sauna's been, great. When we first saw Sauna come onto the scene back in OWL, it was a lot of like Reaper play and, just pinch hitting like Backbone does, for SSG on like the first map of the series. Now we're getting to see a little bit more of what this player is capable of. It's a high ceiling, to be sure. The Virtus.pro, just in terms of how they put their comp together, the overall cohesion wasn't at a high enough level to stop a one-man army. So it's a Ramatra mirror, but Top Dragon will be on the Venture.
Yeah, where Venture provides a little bit more lethality for the pack line. Top Dragon can obviously play this at just extremely versatile, right? Can just play so many different things, unlock so many different comms, and look how aggressive they want to be behind this Venture. The Burrow is already getting big damage.
It's great damage in general as well. Over the top went Alpha with the Pulsar torpedoes and great pace overall from a one-man army. Virtus.pro got absolutely smashed here, and they're looking like they're still reeling from their previous map. They really had no impact in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just pretty difficult to deal with some of the pressure that a one-man army is putting down. It just seems like they play at such a faster pace as Sauna over to the Cassidy here. So with Venture in the mix, right, we saw that Burrow come in straight away. Burrow with a little bit of speed boost, getting everybody in the mix. It's really difficult to keep the Ashe alive on through that. So going to play the Cassidy, just a larger health pool, a little bit sturdier.
Yeah, also just having that hindrance available to you might give you the breathing room you need to do the damage. Still takes some time. Nice Vortex. Sort of now going to be pressured down by Top Dragon, who just came through, didn't quite emerge under them. But still, Rajara's getting pounded in this front line. Absolutely slap silly. Virtus.pro need to take a sidebar here, and this is just an extra fee, 10 to 15% of free progress on the capture for a one-man army. Here's the Annihilation from a Thematic. Cloud, though, gets the Blizzard, and that is how you stop a Ramatra in Ultimate, folks.
Yeah, I mean, no way you're gonna push it on through that Blizzard, right? So finally, in the end, it works out for VP. And now an opportunity to potentially hold on to this for a period of time here, Mitch, because you're gonna have double Sepulto, you're gonna have an Annihilation of your own. Sauna's Deadeye, you wouldn't think it's like extremely impactful, but it's definitely a deterrent, right? Don't want to exactly just kind of like push on in directly into that Deadeye. Have to at least respect that portion of it.
Also, it's scary if a Juno is in flight. They have to dump altitude pretty quickly. Same problem that Mercy has dealing with that ability. Here's the Blizzard from Ammo, throws it straight on in. Good capture, but Thematic just pushes Virtus.pro essentially out of it. Still, it's the cost of Canale for VP now as they find their Annihilation finally. Tectonic Shock just gets flattened there by Top Dragon, who's in a very exposed position. And Rajara with this ultimate is pretty dangerous. Not much the Thematic can really do about it now. Lost much of his team and can only defend as he backs up. Cloud eventually gets the job done with a Ice Spike.
So this looks like potentially for VP an opportunity to completely flip this point. This Top Dragon's gonna go over to the, okay, I was gonna say, I was like, not gonna play Sojourn here. This is gonna be VP taking that first point. So a one-man army played pretty well, like all the way through it. Looked like a position where they're going to be able to take that first point. VP just flips it and then just kind of, steamrolls, puts together 2-3 fights in a row to end up taking our first flash point. Is VP is a must-win scenario, right? They find themselves down 2-1 here against a one-man army is now you'll see both teams actually match the Cassidy.
Yeah, Avo making a switch over there, just not feeling like he had enough oomph in the previous fight. Gala caught out a little bit, low health, and the Pulsar torpedoes came in. And the problem for a one-man army on that previous flashpoint is that their annihilation wasn't nearly as devastating because Theo was caught inside the blizzard, had it turned off, and made it really easy to work that Ramatra down to size. But there's another opportunity in this next fight to have a devastating impact with that ultimate.
Yes, a one-man army could get aggressive behind this annihilation, right? Maybe even deny some of the space from VP before they exactly push in. As it's going to be a May wall used from both teams. Top Dragon trying to prevent everybody else from coming down, but it looks like they just want to get this Blizzard on the Top Dragon. Maybe just get that one pick, then take advantage.
Yeah, still have to deal with the annihilation though, and Theomatic is showing us why it is busted. Straight into the back line of Virtus.pro goes Theomatic. And yes, oh man, I mean, Virtus.pro able to catch out the May of Top Dragon, but they spend a whole lot for it. And the real threat is right here on your screen.
Yes, Theomatic, I feel like, has been a big difference maker here in this series. The Ramatra play from One Man Army has been fantastic, as looks like they want to try and get aggressive here. Maybe kind of catch somebody out, prevent them from getting close to that point. This is going to be Avo using the Deadeye here. Not going to spawn anything at the moment. Maybe put down a little bit of damage there, but not much at all. Is now VP gonna have one final attempt here. No, at the point, but do they even have enough time, Mitch? I think they're so far away. Yeah, I think they're caught in the choke. They're gonna have to back out, and they don't even really do that either. It gets a little bit sloppy here from both teams at the end of the point.
And it's a good little push out from a one-man army because they don't fully commit to it. When they see the Virtus.pro maneuver out of the fight, they leave them. VP have to maneuver away from the point. It just, burns again like 10 to 15% of capture progress, and by the time they're in a position to come back, they get caught inside a choke entirely. So good looks for a one-man army. We don't see the full commitment. They don't go too far.
So, here's the positive though for VP. I mean, you come back in this next fight with all 5 ultimates, right? One-man army really just has the rally and Blizzard, not really a ton to work with here. So you're in a great spot for VP to at least take this point, as it'll be just a Deadeye use here from Sauna off the rip.
Top Dragon Blizzard catches Rajara, but he wasn't in annihilation at all. And in response, Theomatic gets caught by that of Cloud. So that's 3 ultimates now have been used by Virtus.pro, make it 4, and here's the 5th. Rajara gonna now commit with the annihilation. So no reason really not to win a fight like this. The one-man army did what they could in terms of winning the Blizzard and the rally, but yes, VP, they had all the cues.
Well, look, I mean, you trade Blizzard and Rally for 5 ultimates on the other side of things. It's not exactly the worst fight ever. I mean, you got to feel pretty decent about that. If you're one-man army, you at least get the ultimate economy back in a situation where it could end up trending in your favor. VP, you end up holding on to an ultimate or 2 there with already 60-something on the point, nothing on the other side. I mean, this is another easy point to take where a one-man army at least gives themselves a chance here to flip the point.
78% and counting though for Virtus.pro. Very drawn out engagement. And again, just having annihilation here might be enough to tip the scales. Theomatic probably won't be subtle about it, Matt. Likely will leap in and look for an opportunity to get onto the backliners as soon as possible. Cloud is already low. There's that annihilation straight away. And look at those health bars drain away. First it's Sauna picked off. Theomatic though finding in a bit of a target scarce environment now as Virtus.pro all split away from that Ramatra. He needs to get his skates on to try and chase him up, and there's even a wall put in his way. I'm going to be honest, a good disengage considering how deadly Ramatra is in that ultimate.
Yeah, I just wonder if that one fight, though, where they kind of dumped all 5 of their ultimates is going to come back to bite them. As this will be a Deadeye here from Avo. Trying to get a little bit of an off angle there. Doesn't really find much of anything, but it's going to be the combination of the Orbital Ray plus the Blizzard that ends up resulting in a fight win for a one-man army. So they throw in some key ultimates here. Trying to stagger out Rajaro here. So this is going to buy them even more time. And then for this next fight that kicks off, you're going to have your rally. So a one-man army in an opportunity where they could potentially flip this.
Yeah, look, both teams are really liberally using ultimates, I think, to win these fights. A one-man army at least able to distribute them in sort of a 2 and 3 fashion in between 2 consecutive fights. The Virtus.pro now are the ones that they're verging on their peak ultimate economy-wise. Basically everything you could ask for here, including an annihilation that's quite scary. So they go preemptive one-man army. They pop the rally straight away, and they're trying to catch Virtus.pro on their way to the point, but Kanale has a rally of his own, and they can actually just walk away from this, providing Sauna can roll back from the Ramatra. Theo now has that Annihilation and he pops it instantly. He wastes absolutely no time. But the Blizzard is a problem. And again, Theo gets caught out by that key ability. That's what Virtus.pro have been finding huge edges in these fights so far. And now, able to find Donghoon after the fact. That is big. Virtus.pro, with that ultimate peak coming their way, able to shut down Theo.
Yeah, no, one-man army, like, they're forced to rotate, like, all the way around the point with their Briggs, so there's nobody in line of sight of Theomatic to even try and heal him up through that Blizzard, which most likely you wouldn't have been able to do it anyway, as all of the focus fire from VP coming down onto the tank of a one-man army. So one-man army get very close to taking that point, but yet again, VP battle back.
Okay, on to the next flashpoint now. It's been an extremely seesaw affair. It is an Annihilation put down by Rajaro, who really wants to win the first fight here. I think he's going to get it. I think a one-man army are really going to argue about it too much. Top Dragon almost had the opportunity to develop a Blizzard there, which would have countered that ultimate. The Virtus.pro are much better at making sure Rajaro can't be interrupted in that ability, and they're sending him straight down the gullet. Whereas a one-man army for Theo caught twice by Blizzards in Annihilation this map alone.
Yes, you know, the Blizzard really for VP from Cloud has really been kind of almost saved to kind of deal with the Theomatic, you know, inside that Annihilation, where a one-man army seems to use it a little bit differently. Like, they're fine, you know, letting that Annihilation just kind of come in, maybe having a rally to, like, bash and try and deal with it, and using this Blizzard from Top Dragon to try and find a player, you know, get a pick off, set something up, as Maywall trying to block the Deadeye.
I mean, you mentioned that it can be very effective here, but both teams are really playing around it. Theo low. Backs away though, gets a good bit of healing. Blizzard from Top Dragon looks like it's defensively oriented. He actually just catches the corner. Oh, that's beautiful. Cloud caught out by it. Theo actually notices that the main is frozen stiff and just goes straight for it. Sauna able to trade back from this position, but now, I mean, there's no way you're surviving this, buddy. Theomatic going hog wild on them here and giving a one-man army a foothold on this fourth flashpoint.
Yeah, I thought the Blizzard wasn't actually going to pay off there for a one-man army, but they find the one player around the corner. Looks like they probably through communication, you know, to figure out that Cloud is actually frozen directly around the corner. We're not able to keep the May alive. Ooh, early ice block there from Cloud. This takes a large chunk of damage. Now he's getting kneeled up here by Gala, but a little bit scary there off the rip. Sauna now is back on the Ashe, so I actually think you can play the Ashe here because there's no Venture on the other side. There's no, like, real fear of getting doped.
Well, this is awkward. What a catch up this Blizzard. Oh my god. Theomatic in deep trouble. Trying to play around. Okay, I like his play around the orbital ray. That's big. Top Dragon's able to find 2 quick kills, and Theomatic has the Annihilation here. A little swing here for a one-man army. Might give them this flashpoint and take us all the way to 5. That was a fantastic little pivot midway through the fight.
I mean, the Blizzard is sick there, right, from VP, but just the ability to play behind the beam and the Annihilation there. Top Dragon alive throughout that as well there for a one-man army. I mean, that is one that VP did not expect the one-man army to end up flipping. So that Blizzard from Cloud, I mean, it felt like everybody was caught inside of it, but a one-man army able to battle on through.
Yeah, it's a wild to me that Theomatic actually survives that onslaught because it was brutal. Great Blizzard from Cloud, won't take anything away from him there, but now we're seeing just how good Orbital Ray is, folks. That raw healing when you need it. It's something different. All right, Maywall here, going to be broken through. But over we get another Deadeye that is just a really drawn-out reload of his weapon, which was full before he used the ability, but I digress. That's an Annihilation from Rajaro. He is down a half, but still in a good position to work, and that wall slows him up enough for a one-man army to peel away from the offending Ramatra.
Yeah, you get Theomatic, and that feels like it's going to be the points here early in control of Virtus.pro, and I think now this Ashe is definitely something you got to consider here if you're a one-man army, right? You're just having the range here from Sauna so good to kind of set him up in the high ground, and then just the Dynamite's putting constant pressure in terms of healing resources on you.
Again, it does tax those like lower, healing compositions, or the comps that don't have like great on-demand AoE healing, right? Like if you can't get Annihilation procs and like protect your team from the ticking damage of the burn, it's quite annoying for the Juno to have to like shoot everyone like a couple of shots each time. Jaro looked to be a little overextended there, but a Maywall made it harder for a one-man army to overrun him, but now he will be trapped by one from Aoma instead. Orbital Ray here, Rajaro gonna just bathe in that for a moment here. Theomatic may not get to his ultimate. Yep, took a little bit too long here. Virtus.pro winning 2 consecutive fights may be a death knell for a one-man army on this map.
A one-man army takes a lot of damage on the way in, and then there's just really good ultimate advantage for VP coming into that fight. Gala ends up using the orbital ray, the blizzard catches out the Omatic yet again. Can you get here fast enough, though? It looks like a one-man army going to switch over to the Tracer here. If they do, it could get quite interesting.
Vortex load up the Tracer here. I don't think there's any chance of touching, and Virtus.pro equalize the series here. A hard-fought map, I've got to say, and I really felt like a one-man army had a crack at it after how they recovered from that blizzard at the end of that 4th flash point. But Virtus.pro just seemed to be a little more comfortable here, and in general led for much of the game outside of that first fight.
Yeah, VP seems like they played the ultimate economy game maybe a little bit better there than a one-man army. I feel like at the opportune times, they always had a large advantage in terms of what they had to work with, where put the Omatic and the rest of a one-man army in some positions that were just, quite frankly, unwinnable, right? So I think now forcing this Shambali for a game 5 here, you can play a lot of the Ramatra here on Shambali, right? That's kind of like what we see teams want to go to here. So I fully expect similar types of compositions here, including the Ramatra in the mix.
Absolutely. Both teams seem to have shown a real preference for this style of composition, and it definitely seems to fit their strengths here. This is just how terrifying that Annihilation is. It lasts for a very long time because Rajaro is, getting people in that AoE, basically constantly keeping that ticking over. So many of like these fights are kind of highlighted by that ability, and there are some ways to shut it down, right? The first is to disengage, but none of the disengages away from either of these Annihilations were particularly clean. There always seems to be 1 or 2 players caught. It's a big blizzard that can stop the Ramatra in his tracks, but he's fast. He can often get out of the radius or just do this. Yeah, heal up with your Juno ultimate and come back in with an Annihilation of your own. This turnaround was it was stunning. Such a shame that their last flashpoint goes so poorly for a one-man army.
Yeah, right.
They're still in this series.
Yeah, the map was so close, and then the final point I felt like was so anticlimactic for how back and forth the rest of the map was, as it was just kind of like BB just running on through them. Right, there was nothing really a one-man army can do. I'm curious how this Shambali plays out. I think you're going to see probably like Ashe play here as well. And then I don't know if you're top dragon in a one-man army, do you go back? Well, if they're going to play Ramatra, you're not going to see them play like Echo, right? But if they try and bring out like a Diva, you can definitely see them go back to that Echo play yet again.
Yeah, I mean, Virtus.pro have that Diva composition. We've seen Rajaro play a bit of it on this map in general. We jumped into Eichenwald, I think, where Rajaro was really trying to, to push that Diva against a one-man army, and that was a map, obviously, that Virtus.pro lost. There was a lot of Ramatra play straight up from AOMA in general. So yeah, options here. This is definitely the kind of map where those rush compositions tend to dominate. We've seen attempts at playing Diva here before. And also the kind of map where like you can bring that Baptiste in there as well for that extra little bit. Also, Virtus.pro will play Iliari here, right? This is the kind of map where we see them play that slightly more poke style, right? But Gala switch over to that. It could be Juno Iliari, as crazy as that sounds.
Do you like that though?
No. No.
Okay.
No, yeah, I don't. Like going without the Baptiste seems pretty dangerous. Especially if you're in a Ramatra mirror, they might just go to.
It feels like you need the Brig or the Bap, right? You need one of the two. That's what it feels like. Where if you're not going to play the Brig, it feels like you need the Bap. If you're going to play, and vice versa. It just doesn't seem like you make like Juno Ilari work. It feels like if the other team just plays. Like if you play Juno Ilari and then they just play like Bat Brig for argument's sake, right? Like I mean they probably play something a little bit different, but like how is your Ramatra winning that?
Again, yeah, that's the problem, right? And sometimes like the reason why we call it a greedier backline is not because it has less team utility. In fact, it has a lot. It's just it doesn't have a lot of like individual survivability. When we used to compare the Baptiste Iliari to like a Lucio Kiriko setup, for example, which is like much harder to dive, much harder to put pressure on directly. Whereas like Baptiste only really has that vertical mobility, and if you can force that immortality field to be used on himself, then the enemy front line is drastically weaker here. So, okay, Virtus.pro, again, on the defensive side, not too much of a surprise. They do go for the very well-behaved, Brig and a Juno combination.
Yep, well-behaved.
It is well-behaved.
They've learned. They're evolved. But I like the Ashen play, like I mentioned. I think just having the longer sight lines. And I wonder if a one-man army decides, do you play maybe Top Dragon on Venture, try and like challenge that, right? Like, because that's what we saw them try and do, like bully that Ashe out a little bit.
We'll see if that sort of plays out. We've seen Zen actually taken out of the gates here for the entirety of the map in the past, but it will be the Juno here for Alpha. So again, both teams with similar backlines. The Ashe will be present on both sides, as will the Mei. So very much the same composition we've been seeing for much of the series here between these two. And one-man army looks much better at the end of Renasapi, but not the beginning. And obviously they crumbled at the end of New Junk City. We have two very evenly matched teams here, folks, playing their decider match here in this upper bracket. What happens from here on out is anyone's guess.
What do you think of the positioning, though? A one-man army has kind of gotten a really interesting position where they've actually, pushed the bot down. They forced VP to not exactly give up this high ground, but put them in a really odd spot as Top Dragon there. I mean, you saw it from Sauna's POV. He's got players down the street. He's got players directly underneath him, like putting down fire. As one-man army gets really aggressive onto the payload first instead of trying to fight for that top high ground, and definitely I think catches VP off a little bit.
Well, if you can poke back as attackers, there's no point in actually like pushing into the defender's position. You actually want to make them give up that high ground by, forcing them with the cart. Like you want to force a fight on cart, then, there's less defensive layering for, the DPS up on that high ground. And someone like Top Dragon, like we just saw, can just, right-click Sauna, who has to, play in a dangerous position to still get involved in the fight properly. So I like that force fight on the card here. One-man army going to do it again in just a moment. Top Dragon has that Blizzard available. That is going to be a big game changer, I think, in this next fight. Blizzard comes down basically straight away. Rajaro is going to be frozen stiff. There's no way he's getting out of that one. Iceblock was there for Cloud. Ooh, look at the healing. It's pretty good. Rajaro needs to stay in the
really good.
Away. That ultimate is busted, man. It is so good. Blizzard now comes out from Cloud. So Virtus.pro survived that first foray from a one-man army, but it's still the Annihilation and the rally to contend with. Kanail stunned up briefly there by the looks of things by Donghun's stun, and Alpha still has an orbital ray to spend. One-man army fight off the point at some point as Thematic goes deep to deal with Kanail, and eventually they will prevail despite being stymied in the first ult trade.
I mean, you can just see the orbital right there from Gala being able to kind of keep Rajaro up through what looked like it was going to be a guaranteed death, but a one-man army, what they have rolling there at the moment, they had the Annihilation, they had the rally going. The rally's a little bit better and later from a one-man army, and that allows them to take that first checkpoint. So one-man army gonna get cooking there on offense. I really like the position that they took. I think they can put VP in an odd spot.
VP have to fight again here, basically straight up. Rajaro needs to get close now for a big Annihilation. That's a good hit, but it looks like he was whip shot back briefly or knocked away by the coach gun. And orbital ray, something that one-man army saved from the previous fight, means that they can sustain through that ultimate. I think that's a great trade of Volts. But Top Dragon still has a Blizzard to work with now. The wall came out to try and isolate. There's pressure now being applied, though, to a one-man army's backline, as there's a flank there from Sauna, but Sauna can't do much with the front line. Spends so much time away that his front line gets trampled on.
And the Bob prevents the payload from continuing to move on through this. But I mean, look how split some of these players are. I mean, Kanail's there. Where is Sauna? I mean, just out in the middle of nowhere. Probably didn't even need to send the tank all the way out there to go get him, right? Probably could have dealt with it an even easier way. But you can have both players now back off spawn. I don't think you're going to be able to contest this here if you're VP. So that's going to be a second checkpoint here for a one-man army.
Yeah, and a lot of time in the bank to work with. VP didn't even bother trying to contest that. They tried, they already surged out aggressively to fight for that part of the map with an Annihilation from Rajaro, which was dealt with handily because, orbital ray, good ability. Just some poke here for a Top Dragon. Wants to work towards that next Blizzard as quickly as possible. Try and keep it step at least with Rajaro's ult charge. Kanail is rally here and there's a Blizzard for Cloud, so this should be Virtus.pro looking to have priority now. And it's going to be a Blizzard coming out. Cloud lays that one down, but Abadel with Sauna here, so even though VP should have priority, especially now with the orbital ray in play, it is the Annihilation of Thematic that is giving them some concern, and they are not able to play inside that ultimate. They're playing off to the side room instead, making them easy prey for Donghun and Top Dragon.
Well, also, I don't know if you caught up on, like, Avo's Bob ends up going right about where Top Dragon was there in the corner, and it forces VP to actually push on up, where they have to push up with their Orbital Ray and their Ramatrenko, but at the same time that they're being forced to push up, there's a rally and an annihilation on the other side. They're being forced to kind of like run on into it, where VP now out of spawn looks like they'll get some cleanup as they will play an Ana here. So the bio's obviously going to be extremely impactful, right? No cleanse on the other side, no defense matrix to be able to eat this. Coming on through for a one-man army, and then also the nano boost on the Rajaro should be able to help keep him alive through some of that dangerous stuff.
One-man army there, just you saw them overextend towards the spawn of VP, hoping to start a camp, but they were pushed back. Not at the cost of any ultimates here from VP either. But Top Dragon, we've watched him diligently build up that ultimate, now has it available. The orbital ray for a one-man army also is going to be scary business indeed. So Nemesis form gives Rajaro enough speed to get out of that blizzard, and ultimately nobody is caught inside of it. Maybe a little bit antsy was Top Dragon on trying to get that one off. And here goes Sauna. Gets bowled over by Theomatic now. An orbital ray gets some value, yes, but Rajaro in Annihilation definitely seems to be the difference maker now. Catches out Donglin, throws down the Vortex, makes escape impossible, and comes in for the cleanup.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously one of the harder parts on any map to be able to get, but you saw Theomatic still here, getting closer to an Annihilation. Wonder if you consider, end up maybe trying to draw this one out. No, it looks like he gets back to the rest of the team. It's a speed ring to get him out of dodge. But now VP, this is also really difficult for one-man army because Canale sitting at range, it's going to be almost impossible to deal with that on it, right? You're not exactly kind of circumventing the entire team getting around. Dealing with that on it, it's going to be pretty safe in the back, as this is going to be the nano boost on a Rajaro. Does not have an annihilation to work with, but some shots into Theomatic going to put him in a lot of danger. I don't think they're going to be able to keep him up, and they do find the kill onto the enemy Ramatra.
It takes a fair bit of discipline from Theo there not to pop that annihilation, but he's so separated from the rest of his team.
Yeah, I mean, if he pops annihilation there, I mean, that's just tossing it in the bin, right?
Yeah, like maybe earlier on, like before he gets split off from his team and he sees a nano on Rajaro, he's like, okay, maybe we can still do something here, but the Ash Pick also is nice. Obviously, the Bionade is really problematic to deal with, especially if it manages to catch Donghun around his shield in some way. Also means the Mei can't play nearly as aggressively up, so plenty of options. We've seen Top Dragon hit with it already, forced an ice block out of them prematurely a couple fights ago.
I think you're holding on to the Annihilation, though, to specifically play around like this type of scenario, right? Where you have Annihilation plus your rally. So, Gala takes some big damage there from Avo, where you can play around those two big ultimates, right? So here's going to be Donghun with the rally. It's Theomatic actually hit with a big bio grenade, and that's the advantage of having the Ana not able to get any of the rally healing.
Instantly dying. By the way, inside that ultimate, which is huge. 32 seconds left now in the round for a one-man army. Rajaro is going to be a tough nut to crack here. Vortex to slow things right on up. Rajaro with the Annihilation. He's committing. He knows he actually might have a window here. The Orbital Ray got drawn out, though. Gala, got Suzu, but couldn't touch down. So a one-man army are allowed to finish the map as Rajaro heroically tried to stop them with that ult.
Yes, you finish with some time in the bank. That's what's important there for a one-man army. So we'll see how VP's offense goes, as a one-man army did a great job on first point, right? I know being able to kind of negate some of the advantages that potentially that high ground has inherently on defense.
It was a pretty brawly. I mean, considering how much time a one-man army walked into that last phase of the map with, Virtus.pro did a good job holding them at bay. Canale realizing there's an opportunity to switch to the Ana there, just based on that, it's a very short spawn walk distance. The respawn advantage was pretty good for the defenders, and it was getting pretty difficult for a one-man army to get access to that Ana. Not to mention the bio grenades to force out defensive cooldowns at weird timings for a one-man army, making it harder for them to actually pull off their overarching game plan. Won't be valid here, of course, on that attacking side. You definitely need something a little bit better in the upfront brawl, but Virtus.pro did water strip as much time off the clock as they did. Can they thrust forward? Because a one-man army had a great start, right? Thinking back to that first half, they forced Virtus.pro down with this high ground to fight. At least they forced their front line down, which left Top Dragon really exposed.
Well, and the thing is, if you can't force the same type of thing that we saw a one-man army do, like, all it takes is, Avo to get a pick or something like that to, burn some time off the clock here, which is like extremely valuable time here. Now, for VP, it was Sauna going over to the Pharah here. We'll see if this is just for the start of the map. It could be difficult to keep him alive.
somewhat. I mean, normally we'd see like a Iliari turret set up to make it a little bit
Nope.
easier. Sauna can just look to play the corners a little more.
Well, they're going to play the Ana as well again.
Okay, that definitely gives you, the mechanism to more comfortably heal the Pharah. I think Theomatic just spotted Sauna, trying to have a sidebar with him, but I don't think Sauna was willing. Beautiful, yeah, completely caught out there is Theomatic. I mean, very spread are Virtus.pro, right? Across that sort of low ground, threatening with the Pharah, and a big biotic grenade hit, I think, was what really tipped the scales in that fight.
Yes, when they see Far on the other side, they ditch their Mei, they'll end up playing the Echo. So we saw this kind of a little bit earlier in the series. I'm wondering if you consistently play the Ramatra. It feels like you kind of have to, like in this Ramatra mirror, especially Ramatra is so good on this map. Interesting enough, as Top Dragon went over to the Echo, Sauna now switches off of the Pharah, goes over and plays Ashe, and then we'll get back to, basically that mirror, except with a Brig in the mix here for a one-man army.
No, Virtus.pro having to be satisfied with the Pharah giving them the edge in that first fight. Now going 1-for-1 here with Gala down, so that's a lot of their healing that's not going to be a factor anymore, but Canale, of course, can really stand up in the absence of a Juno. High throughput backline for Virtus.pro. And that is very low, Top Dragon. Forced back, Cloud may not even have needed the Blizzard here, but it could be an insurance policy. That's a dirty wall. That's
Yeah.
a dirty wall. Checkpoint achieved here by Virtus.pro as there was nothing Theo could do but look on.
Yeah, I mean, you get that first checkpoint, you have a ton of time in the bank as VP with the Ana in the mix. It definitely seems like it's thrown a little bit of a wrench into this one, right? Where a one-man army consistently playing that Brig in combination with the Juno, the Ana, the bio grenades, the nanos have been so impactful here for VP. It's made, because what a one-man army was doing really well before, Mitch, is like, they were like more of the aggressive team here in this matchup, right? Like pushing on in, making a huge impact. There's a sleep there from Canale, and that's going to be Rajaro with a nano boost while he's got the annihilation going. So, two of Ana's biggest skills on display here.
And Virtus.pro might not actually win this fight. That's the craziest part of it. Okay, Dongman eventually falls. They still have the Ana healing, so they're good. That was very interesting. Rajaro forces out a very early orbital ray by the looks of things in by just ignoring Theomatic, charging the backline, popping that ultimate, and then just soaking them up. Eventually returns to the rest of his team and is like, okay, Canale's there. He can throw like a nano down on him if he needs to. There's a lot of healing available. That's a dirty little combo.
Yeah, and I mean, that's during the rally as well for a one-man army, so the rally doesn't even really pay off that much as Avo jumps over the wall. It's a Bob that gets slept instantly.
And Bionate on Theomatic here. Rajaro, though, has to respect the Bob. He just has to block that damage out, but once that he's down, once Rajaro's healthy enough, they can go for it. Havo tries for a flank, would have loved to have connected on that dynamite, but now the cat's out the bag, and he'll have to fold back to the checkpoint itself.
Yeah, that dynamite would have been nice. A few players would have gotten hit by that, as that's a blizzard there, just trying to catch one player off.
Such a good wall there. That stopped the entirety of your one-man army actually following up on the blizzard at all. They've only managed to get out of that choke as the blizzard was expiring. That's beautiful. Virtus.pro just showing us a little bit of X factor in this game, Matt.
Yes, they've started to really kind of hit their stride here. VP is, this will be the second checkpoint for them in 4 minutes, 11 seconds. It's an eternity here for Virtus.pro to take the final checkpoint, and Sauna goes over to the Pharah potentially here yet again.
Very good chance we're going to run it back to extra innings now, but this part of the map, we tend to see a lot of time burn off the clock because getting through this initial tunnel area for attackers can be hard. That's just why Sauna is trying to push up ahead of it, trying to get some early poke damage, soften up a one-man army a little bit more. Now Virtus.pro will emerge. Dynamite thrown in. Rajaro basically ignores it now as the healing comes out from the orbital ray. Gala can't quite get to his own backline there, so Canale is going to have to fend for himself for the time being, but I think he's okay with that because Theomatic can't chase. He gets caught out. And the orbital ray allowed Rajaro to create all that space.
And now seeing like the combination here of the Ana in combination with the Juno, like this might be kind of stronger than even like a Brig type setup, as this is the rally here from Donghun, trying to keep himself alive, right? Is just swinging there on Canale. He's got a player above him putting down some shots there as well. It's Rajaro finishing off Alpha. This potentially is Holdo for a one-man army. I don't think there's enough players here for VP to actually push up. Looks like it just got 3 here. You just have the Juno in the mix, so gotta probably wait to get Canale back, because you also do have the Nano. There's no reason to kind of waste that.
Yeah, they can't push up, but they might be able to hold on to this ground and not concede it. Play out in the open. That wall should be easy for Rojaro to walk around. Blizzard, Nano Boost, and yeah, the Annihilation available. So here comes Rojaro with a vengeance into the backline. Avo just disintegrates, and Dongun is not far behind him. A one-man army crippled by that first little thrust forward, and the best they can do now is try and stall. Blizzard gets thrown out here, that's good. Annihilation going to be used here by Theomatic, but there might be too much adversity. Yep, too much damage as well. And 4 players are still standing, rather 3, excuse me, still standing for Virtus.pro. They have a healer, a DPS, and a tank. They've got what they need now to push straight on in. The spawns are coming slow, but Theomatic's going to be returning on the Doom Fist. Rojaro realizing he can't finish the map just yet.
Yeah, as just now desperation swaps here for a one-man army. It's the Doom Fist, it's the Venture. Donghorn is Zen with a little bit more damage output there. Trying to hold on. One-man army did finish with some time in the bank, but can't allow this massive time bank to come through here for Virtus.pro, as it's Avo getting huge there with 2.
Okay, Orbit Array, but most of Virtus.pro, a couple of their players weren't benefiting from it in the backline. Avo tore them to shreds. Found 2. Now looking to try and land on Cloud, but Cloud gets the better of him here. This is where Virtus.pro should be able to finish the map. And they are going to have a pretty healthy time bank lead of almost 1 minute as we run it back.
Yeah, it's a one-man army makes it a little bit interesting there towards the end, right? You know, Avo putting down some serious damage, but the orbital ray on the point, Dragon just forced to kind of sit in nice block, kind of contest. Didn't have that available to kind of keep it going there, potentially with the Omatic kind of cycling in on the Doomfist. So that's where they end up giving up the point there to VP. Now, VP on defense, I think they just need to focus on not giving up that position that a one-man army took that last time. Definitely going to be more prepared for it here.
And again, this kind of difference 1 minute can vaporize, right? Could be as simple as a Ramattra getting caught in a blizzard, or an early pick on a support player from a main just like right-clicking across the map. That is really all that stands between these two teams. That is to say that a one-man army can definitely still take this map and series. But Virtus.pro played really clean on their attack side, right? Really felt like the strategy was great. They had some really good like disengage May walls that made a one-man army look and probably feel a little bit silly on occasion as they tried to sort of engage. Obviously when Virtus.pro come back on that attack side there, getting a lot of value out of the Ana for much of that attacking.
Oh, I mean, the Ana has felt like a huge difference when it's in the game there for VP, that there's not really much of an answer on the one-man army side of things, where VP on defense, though, will end up playing the break, prevent any type of potential dive or aggression up there towards that high ground. So Sonic Arrow, just there's some rapid fire there from Avo, and then now switching over to the Ash.
Jaro just wants to set up on that high ground now. Be a nuisance and also contest from there. That's important because as the cart moves up and Virtus.pro get forced to play on the low ground, that's when they expose themselves a little bit. Oh my goodness, straight on in Rojaro. Geronimo, he says, and surrounds himself with the entirety of a one-man army. Good healing here though on Rojaro to make sure that that wasn't purely suicidal. Zona was always a little bit of dynamite connection here. That's a problem for the Juno. No self-healing really at all for Alpha. So they get brought down, and that is the free pick that we were talking about, but it goes in favor of the team with the already substantial time bank lead. A one-man army are going to be forced into last fight territory right about now.
Yeah, and I love the way they played that VP. Instead of just kind of passively playing that corner, get Rojaro in and be aggressive. Deny that space. You have an advantage in terms of the time bank. And put more pressure on Theomatic. Top Dragon already at a blizzard though, man. I mean, that is fast.
Yeah, really been building up those ultimates via those right clicks. Cloud way behind him. So here's the blizzard. Cloud doesn't have an ice block, and it's going to be an easy pickup for a one-man army. Orbital Ray comes through. Rojaro is going to make good use of it, punching Top Dragon's lights out. And Avo got picked up there as well by the Juno. This will be the end of the line for a one-man army.
And that orbital ray comes down from VP while the one-man army has their rally going. So it just kind of puts into perspective how impactful that Juno ultimate is in terms of the healing damage output that it provides. So really difficult to deal with, even with a rally on the other side of things. Can't kind of sustain on through that, where a one-man army, their offense there in OT, not as formidable as their offense in regulation, where it's going to be really difficult for them to hold this.
This has been quite the matchup. Make no mistake. And if you've made the right call, by the way, connecting your FACEIT account with the extension under the Twitch stream here, you can earn yourself some FACEIT points while you watch. That's pretty sweet. We're kind of doing that for the first time. So make sure you get yourself signed up on FACEIT, connect your account, get free FACEIT points, and they can be redeemed in the FACEIT shop for like a literal metric F ton of things. So do it.
Just about anything.
Anyway, you get signed up.
Yeah, may as well check out the store, see what they got. All different types of games, different things on there. So pretty sweet that you can get those FACEIT points just by hanging out.
And they even have like some sort of. Okay, a top dragon. It probably feels that like if the fight is only going to happen around that sort of choke, then he can just sort of pop in and off of the high ground and like break line of sight pretty easily. I'd be a little concerned about this. Someone wants to open with the Widowmaker here. One pick to rule them all, they say. And it's unclear if he's been discovered yet, but a one-man army are really well playing out of the side of those fight lanes. Okay, big hit on Avo, but yeah, a little bit of damage fall off there. Won't get him to the finish line.
A few months ago, there may have been a kill. not right now, as you see right away that one-man army has to start fighting this.
Wall. That is a good wall. Theomatic eventually able to break his way through, but in the meantime, he gets circumvented by the entirety of VP. They go upstairs. Avo and Theomatic, who tried to follow onto the low ground, get caught by a Bionator. We've now flipped the map. This is a great little outmaneuver by VP. Can they convert on it, though? Rather under pressure is Cloud. He folds back and lets Rajaro take the heat here on the card. It's going to be Sauna falling to the sticky bombs, though, and Canale has a wide angle, but it has been spotted. Avo putting pressure on this Ana, and a Dynamite will finish the job. Great recovery here for a one-man army to a situation that is just not very common at all. With the attackers flipping the map like that.
Well, and I was like, are they going to be able to live on through this, right? Because they don't have Theomatic here too with a bio, and you don't have your Ramatra to kind of hold serve on the point. How are you going to be able to do that? But Donghun able to stay up. This one-man army gives themselves an opportunity here. So, man, what a hold, what a map 5 this would be.
All right, here's Avo playing up. Alpha quite low there to some poke by the looks of things now. 33 seconds and a one-man army definitely within the territory of being able to win the whole series here. Rajari getting pressure, but a Bionode comes in. He gets the boosted healing, but can anyone even see him? He backs away behind the wall, but doesn't escape. It's going to be Donghun catching him out. And now 20 seconds are left to play. And a one-man army holding on for now, but they've lost their main tank too. Alpha has to jockey back now with those pulsar torpedoes and try and stay at a respectful distance while healing his team. As Top Dragon dupes the May. Definitely a comfort pick for him so far, and he's going to be knocked out of that quickly. Can he escape? Force back, flight cooldown used. Gala is actually going to go down to the pulsar torpedoes, and a one-man army look like they're in a good spot, but Rajaro is nanoed on the cart. They've got to get there. Here comes the Doom. Blizzard thrown out here. That is going to freeze Theomatic Solid and Virtus.pro. Look to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat here. Rajaro stuck in a 1v1 and pops the annihilation. He knows it's chalked.
What a series as VP ends up taking it in the end. A one-man army, I mean, as close as you can do on defense there at the end. The nano boost onto Rajaro coming off the spawn. I mean, that was quite massive there, being able to keep him stay alive. So one-man army, they pull up just a little bit short there.
Yeah, but what a performance. I mean, this was not to be expected usually in the first round here in our upper brackets. You know, I think that the first match we got to see between EXO and I forgot already who they faced off against. They made...
The Washington Hospice.
That's right. The Hospice boys stayed alive. What a sentence to even say on a broadcast. But yeah, they are, of course, continuing through the upper bracket. EXO fell. That was the first match we saw. That was dominant. This one... great back and forth. And honestly, just based on the performances we've seen very recently in the OWCS from a one-man army, that was to be expected. They looked so revitalized with this roster. Top Dragon and Donghun coming in, really adding so much to round out this squad. I think Theomatic has shown us a lot of good looks too, and I do like that they've been so heavily relying on those brawl competition with Ramatra. And quite frankly, I'm digging that Juno. I'm thrilled. I'm elated at the fact that EMEA are no cowards. They voted yes on the Juno.
Exactly. Yeah. no cowards here.
I will say though that just the AoE, the raw ability of like not only is Juno's ultimate very powerful for healing, but Juno herself can still heal while that ultimate's going. So you have this unreasonable spike in single target healing during that duration, and that might be why that we're actually moving back to a Brawl style comp with the Mei as well, just because that ultimate is such a power spike.
I did think Canale's Ana play, specifically on this final map, though, was like a huge difference maker. Like, we never saw that answer kind of, coming out potentially from a one-man army. It was just kind of consistently with that Juno with the Brig, where the Ana, I mean, was awesome. I mean, specifically, even here at the end, right? Having the Nano to kind of just do this, just a huge difference maker.
What would you say would the answer be if other teams
I think you
feel
just
like
play
this
an
is
Ana
more
of your own.
potent?
I think you just play an Ana of your own.
Diana with Diana, fine.
Yeah, just
There are
match it.
some areas where you can do it, right? Like, I do think that if you get Dove on, I'd be interested to see how like an Ana Juno composition actually like handles that. It does like approach the greediness levels that we've talked about with the Baptiste Liari backline that is susceptible to getting jumped on. So that's all I'd say. But I think if your opponent is like, if you know your opponent is only going to brawl, then I really don't see the problem.
It's
Yeah.
Shambali. They're not going to play Winston. It's not like they're going to play. I mean, what you? Sure, they could in
can
theory
play
play
deeper.
like
They can
Genji,
definitely play
right?
deeper on Shambali.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly helped them that they were facing off against a team that so heavily relies on the brawl. I mean, also, of course, some might ask the question here in this particular matchup, why was it so close against VP, which is considered to be like literally one of our top 3 teams in the EMEA region, not to take anything away from a one-man army's victory here, but VP, they didn't have Shockwave in the mix, so
It's a meta shift. It's a meta shift as well. And as good as VP were on the rush style, like
Hey, Hugo.
I do think
How
that
you
like
doing?
they have to adjust as well.
He's just erupted on the chair for whatever reason, but yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a meta shift. It's not having Shockwave. I think those are probably some big, but a one-man army though, like they've always made series against top teams interesting. It's not like they just kind of, your typical like 7-8 just kind of come in, just get rolled, right? They've always been pretty competitive.
That's the thing, because in the regular season here, in EMEA Masters, they kind of didn't. They even lost to like De Impero and like some random losses, but they lost like 3 out of SSG. So like in recency, and most of these games happened between like mid to late August. So like not that long ago. It's nice to see them at least.
What do you mean? August is a while ago now.